Hey, it's Eric G. Around the House is sponsored by Baldwin Hardware. For 75 years, Baldwin Hardware has been known for its first-class quality and craftsmanship in door and cabinetry hardware. As an alumnus of the Baldwin Hardware Design Council, I can say I have seen the details and quality from design to the finished product. If you're looking for a new style and old-world craftsmanship, I can tell you there is only one Baldwin Hardware. Check out what would look great in your home at baldwinhardware.com.
Gotta get you on the radio, yeah, you gotta get on the radio.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Around the House with Eric G. We are sitting here having a good time. I'm Eric G.
I'm Dane Vodder.
We're having a good time in here, and I want you to join in the conversation. We are talking all about home improvement. And the thing is, we're talking about DIY stuff and getting started. There's so many people out there, and we talked about this last hour. Now, if you missed last hour, don't worry. It's all going to be okay. It's going to be in a podcast, which you can go over to our Facebook page, which is Around the House with Eric G. And you can go on there. Once it's up, it'll be up there. Then what you can do is you can listen to your favorite podcast out there. It doesn't matter if it's on SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, whatever you're listening to. Like it, follow it, subscribe to it. That way, if you miss it, it'll remind you that you missed last one, and you'll be able to get it a lot quicker. So little subscription to that stuff actually helps you out because you don't have to listen to me telling you to tune into it. It's going to tell you for you. It's all on automatic. It's on autopilot, so you can just deal with it as you want to.
As soon as it goes up, you get an alert, and bam, you can click right on it. You got the podcast right there.
Yeah, I mean, I get that that you're out there, and I mean, there's so many people out. You're catching maybe in the car right now. Maybe you're heading to the home improvement store. You're heading down to the Tri-Cities, maybe to Griggs Ace Hardware, because you're going to get in stuff, and you're in the car for 10 minutes. I get it. Everybody's busy on a beautiful Saturday like today. So we're talking home improvement, so I want you to join in the conversation because we're talking DIY. So if you're just starting out and you need some tips, great. Now, if you're the experienced person, I want to hear your story of how you got started and who helped you maybe get started in construction, DIY, whatever. 503-417-9595. 503-417-9595. And then when you put it on your phone, just hit save. Put Around the House with Eric G. That way next time, you don't have to listen to me say it. You can just hit the memory and go.
You're like, I've got that number saved to my phone. I know I'm already calling.
It's there. That's how I do it these days. I don't have to remember numbers. Yeah. How many of you can remember your spouse's phone number out there?
Correct.
Okay. I have one.
I got one.
Good job, Steve. All right. Jeff's got his too. There's 2 of us. So we're running 50% right now. So that's pretty good in here. So it's what it is. I mean, you know, think about it. There's 2 things that I was saying that we had this conversation last night. I got my filmmaker friends in from LA this weekend staying at my house. And I did that movie with them, a couple of years ago. I was the executive producer on it's the short film. So they're staying at our house and having a good time. But we had this conversation last night. There's 2 things that the millennial generation won't understand. The sound of using a dial phone and the frustration of that. And then second, in most cases, the sound of the phone being off, that buzzing of the phone being off the hook.
Yeah.
Your cell phone doesn't do that. You just butt dial somebody if it's off. It just doesn't work that way. So those are 2 things that you kind of are lost.
It's crazy. I kind of little bit straying off topic, but I grew up in a town of 500 people.
Yeah.
And actually in our school, which was just K through 12, we actually had a rotary phone.
Nice.
Like in the hallway. And that's the only time that I actually remember a rotary phone.
Yeah. I mean, that's your generation, and that's cool. So, all right. Hey, let's run out to Steve in Oregon City. Welcome to Around the House.
Hello.
Hey, brother. What can I help you with today?
Well, I just got a quick comment for you. You were talking about, hammers and investing a little extra money. It's the same thing with a tape measure. Get a good 3/4 inch width tape measure that'll extend 20 feet out and won't break in half. You'll save yourself a headache.
And if you buy a good one like that, it's not going to tear your hand off if you don't pay attention. And a lot of them have some new safety things on it, so it's not going to come flying back at you if you accidentally hit the release at 20 and not take a finger off.
Exactly. Yes. Buy a good tape measure. When I started out with my DIY, I didn't have a good one to begin with, and I cussed that thing every time I used it.
That's how they get broken, from guys getting mad and throwing them.
It ended up getting thrown away, and I just went out and bought a new one. Yeah.
Yeah, that is great advice, Steve, because you're right. A good tape measure like that, one, it's probably not going to cut your hand on the edge of it because the cheap ones love to do that if you're not careful, and they won't bite you in the end.
It won't, yeah, exactly.
All right, brother, thanks for listening around the house. Thanks for calling in. Great tip, man. Hey, let's run out here to Brian. Welcome to Around the House. Hey, what can I help you with today?
How's it going?
Good, man.
Good. No, I was exchanging Facebook comments with you earlier today, and I've got a huge project going on, but
yes, you do.
Certainly not in the trades, but I think my experience started when I became a homeowner. I think it started with a water heater and went to let's swap the doors out. Let's put new flooring in, and now it's a complete interior remodel. So it's
for all you not following on Facebook right now that haven't seen our conversation earlier on, why don't you tell about the project you're working on right now, because it's significant.
Yeah, I'm doing a complete remodel inside, and after 20 years of not having AC or a heat pump, I went ahead and put everything in for a heat pump, from the ducting to the everything. It was quite the laborious project, but it was good. It was all DIY. Saved a ton of money doing it. I think I'm probably about $15,000 overall into the entire budget, a little over where I want to be at this point, but. I mean, you're looking at probably $20,000 just for having somebody come in and do that heat pump. It's
yeah, because you went over the top on that. I love it.
Yeah, and I guess my thing for DIYers, and there's your listeners are a myriad of experience, but know your codes if you're going to be working with something that requires codes or inspections, and fix for value. Don't do a half job.
Exactly. Well, what happens is so many people get out there and they want to do what they want to do, but they're not paying. You got to almost leave some of the emotion out of it and look at it from a business investment side too, because unless it's going to be your forever house and you're gonna just kind of say, hey, forget the kids, they're gonna have to deal with it when I'm gone. You need to kind of take some of those things into consideration.
Well, and that was one of the things that my wife and I talked about before we embarked on this project. And I tell you, a patient spouse is a must in this. But we talked about where we're going to be in 20 years, and you know what? We're central. Let's just stay right here, and so let's upgrade. And and on the patience thing is don't rush it. If you're getting into a project, don't rush it. Be know when to step away, take a break, and then get back to it. It'll be there, and you'll get through it.
More mistakes happen when you're tired. That's what you got to be careful with.
Or frustrated, I was a little worried about getting back to call in. I went to the big box store and that's an exercise in patience and frustration on a weekend. Holy cow!
Yeah, it's a 2-mile walk in because everybody's in there getting their plants and everything else during the weekend too. So it's a rough one.
Absolutely, but the big thing, don't be afraid to do it. Just get in there and just make sure you're doing it right. Don't be afraid. There's, you're going to do just fine.
Absolutely. Hey, Brian, make sure you follow our Around the House Nation. I want you to start putting some pictures up in there, man, of what you got going on. We'd love to all see that.
Hey, I'm glad you brought that up because that was a question. I heard that earlier, and I'm like, hey, I don't think I'm part of that.
Yeah, be part of that. So you just go into I'll post another, or Dana and I will put up another invitation kind of thing up on our Facebook page Around the House with Eric G, and that way you can jump on there and do that pretty easily. So we'll get you there.
Cool.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate you listening Around the House.
Have a great day, guys.
You too. All right, and we come back. Take all your calls. 503-417-9595. That's 503-417-9595. Just as soon as Around the House returns. Welcome back to Around the House with Eric G. That's where we play some Rancid. It sounds like Ace is the place for your local hardware store, Welcome back to the show, everybody. Want to get your calls. We've been talking home improvement here, and we've been talking about getting the DIY kind of started out there, getting people going because, in the trades out there, there's so many. Here's a stat for you in the trades out there in what I would call infrastructure-related jobs out there. 68% of the jobs that people are now training for won't be filled. So if you think about that, we've got all these people that are training in the trades right now. When they hit the job culture, they are not going to be ready to go. We're going to have 68% more need for that than ever before.
So even though we have people in schools for the trade, we need even more. That next group, we need to get that next group in there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that's the thing here. So you got to really think about that's how much of a deficit that we have. And then here across the country right now, 70% of construction companies don't have the people that they need right now that they can hire. They don't have the skilled professionals they need right now. So, I mean, that's a huge number.
Well, that goes back to what we were talking about last hour. When
Yeah.
we're talking about, none of the schools are at least introducing the idea of going to a trade school
Yeah.
to kids. Everyone's mainly focused on college, but
Yeah.
no one's. And if you teach people how to work on stuff at their homes to do it themselves, then at least they'll have some interest to possibly get into the trade.
Yeah. Producer Steve just actually asked us a question here. Lifetime guarantees. He's asking about that. This
on
is
tools.
a touch on
Yeah.
tools. Let's talk about that for a second. That's a big one. Lifetime guarantees to me is a ton of what I would call, that's the fine print.
So for me, as somebody who's like we've been talking about, I'm kind of new to DIY. When I see a lifetime guarantee on something, I'm looking at that and going, I kind of don't want. I get that I'll be able to get the tool again and get it back, but are you just telling me that your tools aren't as good and they're going to break down?
Here's the thing. Here's what I would do. And I'd ask what the store policy is on that. Great example. Little brother, he's polishing his Airstream trailer years ago. He goes down to Harbor Freight. Nothing against Harbor Freight. It's an entry-level tool that you get, import stuff. Gets a polisher. Gets about half the trailer done, and he's already gone through 5 polishers. He's burnt them up. Now, I will say that is using the wrong polisher for the
wrong job.
For the wrong job. I mean, you just don't do that. It's not going to last. He needed something heavier duty. Finally, about after he'd filled up that store's return bins of polishers, they kind of went, wrong tool, wrong job. Get that, So that's when you need to start having the conversation, because you've got store brands. So let's say you walk into Home Depot and they've got Rigid. A lot of those things, and I don't know their specific policy, but a lot of times you'll see with that you can exchange it at the store. And then, of course, you get into extended warranties and all the little things that they try to sell you before you go out the door. But pay attention to that. I like tool companies that have a local service center near you. Get into the big stuff. You get into DeWalt, you get into Milwaukee, who have service centers around. That's where you can get things repaired quickly. You don't have to ship it off across the country, And then we've got companies here in Portland as well that just do tool repairs. So, I mean, you can get stuff repaired these days and still be affordable, especially if you buy a decent tool. So even if it's out of warranty and you got to fix it, it's not the end of the world. So pay a little attention to that. That's one of those things. Lifetime warranties, I think nothing wrong with it, but find out what that exchange policy is. If you're using a lot every day and you got to ship that thing up, a lot of the major tool companies that are designed after the trades have quick turnarounds where you're going to see that tool back in a week. Not a bad deal.
No.
You'll get that fixed, get it back. Now, one of the things that I see that is, here's the thing. When you get into the commercial grade, different story. They now have tools that can report their health back to an app.
All inside in a computer, basically?
Yeah, so if you're running a high-rise, so you look across the street over here and you can see the Portland building over here that's gutted, and I can look right through it and see over into Washington to the inside of that empty carcass of a building right now. Here's the thing. Those guys over there working on stuff, if they are using Milwaukee tools, and this isn't a Milwaukee Tools commercial, but this is where things are going. If they're all using the One Key system with Milwaukee, you can log in and they can track all the One Key tools and they can look at it and go, wow, that drill's got so many thousands of hours on it. It's getting into life. Or Jimmy's battery over there, or Deborah's drill over there, that battery's at like 30% efficiency. Okay, time to swap those batteries out. A tool manager for a large company can actually start tracking stuff. You can even set perimeters that if that tool goes away and walks away off the job site, it turns itself off. It just
cannot be used.
It can't be used until somebody logs back in and turns it off. So if they've got a drill over there that One Key system and somebody steals it, somebody steals somebody's trailer, it goes outside of the limit of where that is on a job site, it doesn't work. Then what happens? What do? They steal it. Somebody looks at it. Oh, it's broken. I'll take it down to the Milwaukee Center and get it fixed because it's got a warranty on it. Milwaukee goes in and goes, the serial number's in the computer inside of it. So they log in and go, oh, that's Jimmy's drill. That's not your drill. Sorry, guys. And they return the tool back. You know, they're returning like thousands and thousands of drills and tools every single year. I mean, like, I think in 6 months I saw that they had, I think, like 15 or 20,000 tools they had returned just from that system.
Wow.
So that's pretty impressive when you get to that level of stuff, because that now starts to change how you do things with thefts, and there's a huge problem with thefts out there. So
and being able to get tools back, yeah.
Hey, by the way, Western Construction System is a cracked or crumbling foundation system killing your real estate deal. For a free inspection, contact Western Construction Systems. The integrity of your foundation is their specialty, guaranteed. CCB number 94222. Thanks for sponsoring this segment. You know, again, technology is getting better and better, just like batteries are getting better and better with these kind of tools. So when we get into the next hour here, I want to talk about some more hand tools and stuff that people should be having. And I want to get your calls at 503-417-9595, 503-417-9595, because I want to talk a little bit about getting a good utility knife. I want to start talking a little bit about some of these things, get a stud finder, and maybe some of these things that you can get that are great around the house tool items that you're going to use day in, day out for just the little projects. You know, getting a level, some of these things that really getting the right tools, because having those things in that toolbox are going to make a difference on those projects. And if you can get to it, and then might even get into a little bit of tool organization as well, because with that, we're going to be able to have some fun. I like to have things organized. I've got to go through and reorganize my shop again because I did filming last weekend. So it looks like a bomb went off because I was doing lots of crazy stuff, side project stuff.
The disaster stuff that you were doing?
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, when we come back, take all your calls, 503-417-9595, just as soon as Around the House returns. Welcome back to Around the House with Eric G. Yeah, it's Mike Ness singing a little bit of Social Distortion. And, you know, he is in a big mess right now.
Yeah,
if you've been watching the news. Can't be punching guys in the face during your own rock show. That doesn't end well.
Not people that come to pay to watch you, and they pay to hear your music.
Yeah, bad choices. Sorry, I like punk rock. I'm a punk rock guy. But you can't punch the dude in the face. So. Well, hey, we've been talking home improvement here. And we've been really trying to talk about getting people going with what you need to do to build that right DIY toolkit. And some of that stuff is just really getting help from people around you, you know, getting teamed up. We're going to talk a little bit more about the tools here in a second, but I want to get out there because this show's going quick. We're running out of time. One of the biggest things you can do is team up with a family member or friend and really start kind of, you know, you get your knowledge so far, but you can only get it so far without outside sources. So, you know, start doing a project with a buddy who's got, you know, help. I am building a fence this weekend and you've only built one fence and it wasn't done really well. Go learn from somebody else. You know, there's YouTube, everything else. But you know, it's funny, Mike on Facebook made a good comment here earlier that we were laughing about, is that his dad, and he made the comment on our Facebook page Around the House with Eric G. Take a look at it over there. But it's kind of funny. His dad kept buying tools, so, well, he would leave his dads alone.
Bought him the tools, yeah.
Bought him the tools. It's like, hey, that's a good one. You know, I think my dad did the same thing. To keep me out of his toolbox, he bought me my own set. So parents out there, it's not a bad way to go.
And not only does it pique the interest, but it also keeps them out of your tools.
Exactly. So not a bad deal. And if you're missing one, you can go borrow one from the kid if you can't find that wrench. So not a bad idea to have a little backup set there. Well, here's the thing with that, you know, and I think this is where parents can really do a great job and turn this around out there, because there is huge money to be saved as a homeowner, as an adult, if you can learn to do some of these things yourself. You know, that's just all great life skills. And I think it's important, like, you know, balancing that checkbook, learning how to change out maybe a light switch or change out, you know, fix the toilet. You know, you're going to have to do that in your life at some point.
Yeah, here in the next couple weeks, personally, like we've been talking, I'm fairly new to DIY. I've got to clear a clogged drain.
Yep.
And I've got to switch out a light switch because I've noticed that it's starting to reset on me when it's the only thing plugged into the light switch. It shouldn't be resetting the button. So
maybe that's a more segment we had to go over and talk about that. So there we go. So, it's just one of those things that really, when you get into that stuff, it's all simple stuff, but you really kind of need to learn how to do it right. And here's the other rule too. Be careful loaning your tools out. If you got that neighbor, I've had neighbors in the past that, I don't loan tools out anymore. I've got one neighbor across the street. The guy's a pilot and he gets them right back over. But my general rule is I don't loan tools out because it's going to end up going away. And goodbye. It's gone.
See ya.
How many, and I think I learned this lesson about 20 years ago because I loaned a tool and it came back in pieces and it was a quality tool. And I'm like, not doing that again. So
it's a disappointment, especially, because if you have tools for a long time, there is a little bit of, sentimental value attached to that tool.
Especially if it's something that, a parent gave you or somebody gave it to you as a gift. It's a big deal. So here's one thing that I want to talk about that you should always have is just that utility knife. We talked about tape measure a little bit with the collar, but a good utility knife, and then buy 1,000 more blades than you need, because you're going to get yourself hurt more with a dull blade than a brand new fresh one. So treat it with respect. If you're super clumsy, go out and get some of the cut-proof gloves they have out there now. If you're worried about it, you can get in and get those cut-proof gloves that are going to keep you from tearing your hands up. Those are great for dealing with glass, things like that. So put that on your list if you're clumsy with a blade. But really, if you go out and get, the disposable blade, utility knife, get a good one. Don't get a cheap one. Cheap one's going to fall apart and you're going to fight it. You're going to spend more time trying to get the new blade in. But get the big pack of blades, because if you're using it all, those blades aren't going bad. And if you store everything in a nice dry space, those will last you. And you'll always be able to change that blade out, because I tell you what, I change those things all the time, because it comes down to how fast and how safe you want to do it. Now, speaking of that, I want to transition into safety gear. Go out and get yourself a nice set of safety glasses. Get some hearing protection. Get some dust masks. One, good to have around the house anyway. But if you're working on projects out there, even the most DIY basic stuff, you're working on your car and you're maybe changing the brakes, better have that dust mask on, or more technically, because if you wanted to test that dust coming off, that's probably asbestos dust. So don't want to breathe that in. That's now called a respirator. But that's the thing. You got to be careful with what you're doing with asbestos and lead paint. And the nice thing is with lead paint, if you're working on a project around the house, basic DIY, if you've got a house prior to 78, make sure you go get that lead test. You can just swipe it at the house. There's, that's 3M makes them. You can get them at the paint store. You can test it and see. And it'll tell you. It's pretty simple. Follow the directions on the kit. If you got lead, now you got to really pay attention. So when you start doing lead paint, that's not where I'm getting into the basic DIY stuff. That's maybe bring the professional in to help with that, because now you've got some health hazard issues that you need to deal with. So that might be the time that you want to bring in a painter to take care of that stuff for you and do it right.
Yeah, you don't want any long-lasting effects.
Especially you got kids in the house. I've seen people go in and not care a bit, and all of a sudden they're sanding on that old, 1920s wood molding and putting that dust all over the house. It's packed with lead, and there's kids walking around. And it's like, it's not the healthy plan to do.
No.
And same thing with asbestos as well. Just got to be careful out there.
And silica dust.
Silica dust, yeah, that's the other thing too. It's funny, you'll get people drilling in the concrete floor downstairs and dust going everywhere, and it's like, with the new rules out there, if you have somebody out there working on that dust is considered dangerous. So you can get silicosis, and it can really trash your lungs long term. Now, you're not going to get it out of a couple times using it, but the workers that are doing that every day, yeah, you can run into some serious health problems with that. So it's funny. That's the new OSHA rules out there with the you've got to be cutting concrete, bricks, concrete block, all that stuff. You need to be using water or have everybody with respirators. I can't tell you how many times in a week I'm driving down the street and I see somebody out cutting a sidewalk with a big, huge, sitting there diving into that with the big saw, cutting the sidewalk. And man, you got a problem with that. And if you got a big problem, you got Somebody's going to catch you one of these days, so be careful with that. Hey, this segment Around the House is brought to you by Adair Homes, building quality, affordable custom homes throughout the Pacific Northwest for nearly 50 years. That's AdairHomes.com, CCB number 593. So yeah, that's some of the things you just need to be careful with. Now, here's one thing too that you get into the safety stuff. Just get a good quality tool that's not going to break on you. When you're getting into this stuff, get a good pry bar for working on the house, for taking moldings off, or doing some work. Get some stuff that's solid enough. Go get a Stanley or get one of those brands that's going to be decent. I wouldn't go down and buy the super inexpensive ones, except if you have absolutely no plans to
Ever use it again,
and then you're okay.
But odds are you're going to end up using it again at some point.
You are, and that's the thing. And then make sure too that plan ahead. Plan ahead. Once you learn a craft, then really start expanding yourself. You get woodworking down, you're feeling pretty comfortable, maybe buy yourself another tool, push it a little farther, and then start diving into plumbing and electrical. Learn some of that stuff, do a little reading, watch some YouTube videos. There's a lot of good things you can do with learning online. And then, I've also got up on Around the House with Eric G. I've also got on the Facebook, I've got a lot of stuff that we're going to be putting up there in the future, as well as if you go over to the website, which is Around the House Online, you can find our website there. And I've got all my Morgan Day Oregon videos. And soon I'll be putting up some more videos out there as well that'll help you walk through some more projects. So we're going to have some new stuff coming up here in the future. All right, when we come back, we'll be doing all of our little wrap up for the show here. We've got a few little housekeeping things I want to talk about. So I think we'll be done with calls here. We might be able to slide one more in just as soon as Around the House returns. Welcome back to Around the House with Eric G. And where has this time gone? We've been a busy show today.
It's gone quicker than normally the show goes quick. Today,
it really went quick. Exactly. Well, we've been talking home improvement and specifically getting into the trades. And I was just text messaging here with Katie from Girls Build. And if you're up and around the Seattle area, and I think this is the case, this is kind of breaking news here. I'm trying to help her out at the end of the show here. I guess the Girls Build trailer is up in Seattle and has broken down. And they have to be in Astoria tomorrow. So if you're heading up to Seattle and if you are listening to us in Seattle, go over to Girls Build on Facebook. The easiest way to get them is at Girls Build and message them over there, and you can help out. They're going to be looking for volunteers to help load up either a U-Haul or do something to get Girls Build kind of back on track. They've got a breakdown, so they're trying to get through it. But I think they've got another class tomorrow in Astoria, so anything you can do to help with Girls Build, if you got a little time in their hand, just message over at Facebook at Girls Build, and you can help them out over there. They could use a hand, it sounds like.
So, friends of the show, and we always want to be there.
We are huge supporters of those guys, and they're doing. Katie's doing such amazing work with that group over there. So, anybody wants to help out Girls Build, jump on Facebook and message them, and that's at Girls Build. That's the easy way to find them. Make sure you like and follow them while you're at it.
Absolutely.
So this week, we're going to have a lot of fun on Facebook. I'm going to be posting up a few more videos, and then I'll have the midweek podcast, which is kind of my little rant of the story of the week in the middle of the week. So we're going to have some fun. And then stay tuned on Thursday. I'm going to be starting to do a new live segment from the Bloodworks studio. Just a quick little thing with our afternoon news team here at KXL. So you'll be able to follow on KXL and Around the House with Eric G. I'll have it up there as well. We'll be posting it up there. So we'll be talking about what's coming up next on the next show. So we're going to have some fun there.
And that'll be a weekly thing on Thursdays, right?
It is. It'll be a weekly thing that you'll be seeing on Thursday. So I'll be talking about live on Facebook what's coming up in the show and what you can expect, so you can kind of plan ahead and tune in if you'd like. So here's the thing. When we're talking about DIY kits, I want to get through the rest of this list super quick here. You need to get a good LED flashlight. I love here in the Northwest, we have a company that excels at these, and that's Coast Products. So yeah, you can get them at, most of the home centers have them. So take a look. These are the kind of flashlights that you can use. They make multi-tool kits and a bunch of other stuff as well, which is another good thing to have. But take a look at Coast. They're a Northwest company located right here in Portland. So kind of nice to buy local with those guys and get something that's, burn your eyes out bright.
Yeah, good quality lights.
You've got
Power
one
goes
too?
out, man,
Yeah.
that'll blind you.
Yeah, it'll take you down. So make sure you get out there, with the tools. I'm going to go down this quick list here. So, a rubber mallet's a good one. Wrenches. Don't just get the adjustable wrench. Go out and get yourself a nice set of wrenches. Craftsman is just coming out. They are rebranding the entire Craftsman line, and that's just going to be coming out. They got bought by not Milwaukee, but by Black & Decker and DeWalt. So that is getting completely rebranded. They bought it from Sears. So they're going out with, they got thousands of new tools coming out in the Craftsman line, including automotive stuff. So that's going to be an interesting one. I saw some of the, I didn't have a chance to go back to that this week, but they did the new big reveal with all the new stuff. And all my tool friends are out there sharing that stuff. So they got some neat stuff coming out, and it's going to be pretty quality stuff. So take a look at that and get yourself some good pliers, needle nose pliers, and of course, get yourself the right safety equipment like we talked. That's kind of a lot of the big things in the safety toolkit. And I posted up on our Facebook, Around the House with Eric G. Like, follow. You'll see the video up there that I actually did a nice video of starting your own DIY toolkit. So we got a lot of fun stuff coming out. Next week, we're going to have a good time. We'll talk a little bit about the trades. Might even talk a little bit of plumbing. We're getting that all set up here for next week. So that'll be a good show ahead.
Well, and we've been talking about, breaking into DIY and getting your tools. Once you really get set on your DIY stuff, it's the perfect time to really tackle those 10 most procrastinated, projects to get done around the house.
Those are tough, especially when we don't have time for it this week. Our thanks to executive producer Dane Vodder for making the show sound great, and Steve Moffat, who ran the communication center, Jeff Thomas for keeping us on track and on the air. Most of though, we want to thank you for listening. We want you to join us next week from noon to 2, where once again we talk about maintenance, repair, designing for remodeling, and renovation of your home. Until then, be sure you do what you love and love what you do. This is the Radio Northwest Network. I'm Eric G., and you've been listening to Around the House.
We have some exciting news about the Around the House podcast. Do you want to be an Around the House insider? Our premium membership gives you early access to the weekend podcast, exclusive access to our back catalog of shows, special email access to me, Eric G., with your own home improvement questions with a priority email address, plus exclusive new shows and extended content. Click down into the podcast show notes for the link to the Around the House Insider membership for less than the price of a beer at happy hour. Join me for this limited amount of exclusive members. And thanks for listening to Around the House.